Hey guys, going to be looking at an interesting subject this week. This time it's a uh, reboxing of Hasegawa's 1/48th scale F6F Hellcat as part of their Creator Works line from the manga The Cockpit. Let's go ahead and pop her open. So right away you can easily tell the kit is nothing less than Hasegawa's standard level of quality. All of the panel lining is crisp, it's highly detailed, it's very nicely done. There is some detailing on the inner walls of the cockpit area, but not a whole lot, which is a little bit of a letdown, but does leave room for improvement. Moving on, we have our main underwing part. One thing that I found odd, at least on my copy, was it almost looks like a little bit of sanding here. I don't know what it exactly is, but it almost looks like someone sanded it. That aside, detailing is much the same. All the thing is really nicely done. Also, very nice, interesting thing I noticed was that there is this little bit of a gap here for the cowling flaps, which is nice that they included that detail. It's way too easy to just automatically sort of basically seal that up. So having that part is a nice inclusion. We've got our centerline drop tank and parts for that as well. Got our wing upper halves, nice and crisply done. Got our main cowling. One downer on this one is that it does have a nasty mold release point that unfortunately is going to be a little bit of a bear to clean up, but overall it's very nicely done. Continuing on, we've got two sprues for the elevators and underwing munitions and main gear. Don't care for the fact that they did it as a split piece. I personally prefer when they do elevators as a single piece, but no, it's personal preference issue. But overall, nicely done. Would have been better if they were sagging, but there's always aftermarket for that since those are pretty cheap to come by. Now, moving on to the biggest sprue in the kit, we've got our engine, which is nicely detailed. Our cockpit has adequate detailing for out of box. There it is. Very nice job they did on the console. Hopefully, a lot of that will show up. Overall, they've done an excellent job there. We also have our main gear, our tail gear, and the gear bay doors. Detailing is a little sparse on those, but overall, nicely done. Moving on to our clear parts, they're nicely molded, clear, clean, no visual I can't talk today. Basically, they're really nicely done. The Hasegawa did a great job. Everything, including gun sight, is nice and clear. So let's go ahead and put this back and move on to the decals. Now, you're given markings for two aircraft, one a US version and one as a captured Japanese version, which, truth be told, I haven't seen. In fact, I can't think of ever seeing somebody do a captured Hellcat before, as far as a marking option. Granted, I don't own too many Hellcat kits, but I'm just saying I haven't seen people do it, actually build them up in that way. So it's nice to have that included. Like I said, markings for the title aircraft from the cockpit, as well as decals for the front console if you so choose to use them. Personally, I don't, but it's nice to have the option. Nicely printed, usual chronograph decals. Everything's nicely crisp and clear. All colors are in clear register. Let's move on to the instructions. So, like all aircraft kits, it seems, start in the cockpit. Is going to take a little work to do as it's a lot to build up. Though once you get everything sealed up, it does get a lot easier. Though there are a couple things you do need to clear, cut off, remove, and do. Interesting note, they do include where to fill panel lines. This is something I've not seen a kit manufacturer do, as they usually either neglect to do it at all, or they just include a separate part. So having this in instructions is nice to have. It does show that they were thinking ahead and really doing the research. But anyway, as I was saying though, once you do get it clear, the cockpit sealed up, it does go a lot smoother. Now, an interesting thing about the marking options included in this kit is that they use the earlier or paint scheme similar to what you typically see on the F4F Wildcats, the sort of lighter blue over the white. Now, again, this is something I haven't seen a Hellcat in. You know, a lot of Hellcat kits you see in the later war overall navy blue scheme. So it does make this a little bit of a more interesting build option. So overall, it's a good kit. Typical Hasegawa quality. Definitely a more interesting subject matter. And I would highly recommend it to add to your collection, as, yeah, you don't see Hellcats in that sort of mock-up very often, if at all. So yeah, that was a look at Hasegawa's 1/48th scale F6F Hellcat from their Creator Works line, the manga The Cockpit. Until next time.